I just spoke to another company that had a rejection for the intra-company transfer program, and that is because the company is a sole proprietor. Now, let me also explain to you what we are looking for the intra-company transfer program, right? So a lot of companies are private limited companies that we speak to, but just being a private limited company is not enough, right? Now, in terms of how much revenues you need to be, what is the size of the entity, what's the size of your operation. So let me give you some idea so you sort of can assess if your company is qualified or if you would be qualifying for the intra-company transfer program. It is a great program to consider, especially if you're a business owner, if you don't qualify for PR status for Canada through any of the other economic route, you definitely could be looking at the intra-company transfer. So let me give you some basics on what you should be looking at. So when we look at a private limited company, right, the first question we would ask is, where is your private company located? What business are they in? What industry is your company in? What is the scale of your operation? Are you, for example, just doing it regionally within one part of India or within one state of India? Or are you having a pan-India presence that is across India? Do you have your business operations? What is the scale, right? That is very important to understand. Now, a company that is private limited, that is even say making 10 crores, annually in terms of turnover, we may not be able to work with that company because they are very regional in presence. For example, they have a retail store, they run a textile industry business related to the textile industry, and then they have a regional presence. They only have, say, one store or two stores in Ludhiana or in Jalandhar or somewhere like that. And we're not able to use that company even if they have strong revenues. 10 crores is not bad in terms of revenues, and I've done intra-company transfers for a lot of other companies that have 10 crores in revenues. It's not bad. It's not the best, but it's not bad. We can still do it. But if they only have a regional presence, then it becomes very difficult for us to prove to the Canadian immigration authorities that these guys now want to do global expansion. So first step would be to at least expand within India, or you have a global presence in terms of where you are selling to. Your target market is a global presence. So you have a textile industry business, and you only have a couple of different stores in India and one of the states or two of the states, for example. But your target market, that is the people that you sell to people in UK, you sell to people in the US. So you have a global presence in terms of where you're attracting customers. Then that could be a really good thing we could use for the intra-company transfer as well. And that is also a case that we can make to IRCC about why you need, a North American presence. Like, why do you need a presence in Canada? So it has to make sense, because why is Canada accepting this? Canada is accepting to do this is because they are looking to bring in, investors into the country. They are looking for these companies to create economic impact, right? So they are looking to, increase jobs. They are looking to increase Canadian revenues via taxes. They are looking to improve Canadian imports, exports. So, they are looking for some economic benefit. So if you're running a business, especially some of those IT companies that I deal with, they basically have a complete offshore, setup. They have all these people working offshore. They have clients from US, UK, Canada, and all of that, but they have a complete offshore setup, and they have absolutely no plans of hiring in Canada. They have absolutely no plans of making a huge presence. They want an online presence just literally for the sales department to be here to sort of speak to the clients, in the EST time zone, right? Or whatever time zone that you're in, depending on where you are in Canada, right? Now, that may not be a very good way to approach the intra-company transfer. You have to remember the center of the intra-company transfer application is your company strong enough in India, okay, or wherever your company is coming from? And is your company going to set up or going to create that economic impact here in Canada, right? Now, I see a lot of companies that I've spoken to, not that great in revenues, not that great in terms of, their application for intra-company transfer itself, and that got approved. So they asked me, well, I didn't do any of this for the intra-company transfer application, but for extension, you're telling me you need to do this, 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 and this. Well, all I can do is I can put in the best application possible, right? So if by fluke some applications got approved for businesses that are not strong in revenues, or we did not really go above and beyond to, prove the economic impact that your business will create in Canada, and somehow your business got approved, doesn't mean I'm going to take such carefree attitude towards an extension of that business, because then you may have another immigration officer looking at the application and wonder, how did this application get approved in the first place? And what if they start now digging? So when we are, if by fluke you got accepted, but when you're doing an extension, it doesn't mean extension is a given, right? So you may want to tread that road carefully. But I digress from the whole concept of what are we looking for in businesses when we are looking at the intra-company transfer, right? We cannot consider them from the intra-company transfer. Then we look at other programs like the startup visa or any other programs that they could be a fit for, but that's outside of the scope of this particular video. So let me stick to the intra-company transfer alone. Then we look at how big the business is, what their revenues are, how many employees do they have. If you have, say, a 20 crore business, and it took you, say, 5-6 years to get to this 20 crore business, okay? But you literally have like 5 employees. That again doesn't sort of add up, right? Because we have to show that you have a large enough presence, you've hired a lot of people, you are running a big ship and it's pan-India, or your clients are coming from abroad, and then we're able to leverage that success to say that you're going to do something similar in Canada, right? So that is the whole gist of the intra-company transfer. The one other thing you have to remember is the proof of funds. Whether you have the $150,000 Canadian or $100 to $150,000 Canadian, again, this depends on the kind of business that we're looking at. Right? So some businesses, it's a lot more than that, depending on what we mention on the business plan, depending on what industry the business is in. So a couple of different things sort of play in this area. Now, you're not really investing or spending that money right away, right? You're just showing the government that, look, I've got proof of liquid funds. Now, these could be funds sitting in your personal bank account. It could be in your business bank account. It could be a combination of yours and your spouse's. So as long as you're able to show that these are the funds available, and if it's really not directly in your name, you're basically getting a letter drafted that these funds belong to the business expansion in Canada. We're able to draft that letter and get that notarized. So these are the different things that we have to do in the back end to make sure that you're absolutely foolproof. You're not leaving anything to chance in how you're conducting and how you are structuring your ICT application. And just note that if you're a sole proprietorship, please do not work with anybody for the intra-company transfer application. You will get a rejection in less than 4 weeks. And I really hope this video helps even one person out there not make the wrong decision. I'd be very happy. Thank you and good luck.